What do you think the biggest selling BMW was in 2023? If you answered the G01 X3, their medium SUV, you would be correct. 350,000 sales globally, which is what makes this fourth generation, now called G45 X3, so important for the brand. And you may notice that the styling of this car is not challenging. It's about being classically handsome because BMW wants to maintain the volume of this incredibly important vehicle.
Chasing cars, honest reviews of your next car. Brought to you by
Now, looking at it from here, you can see that it's all about cleanliness of design and minimisation. It is slightly wider than before, slightly longer than before, has its proportions changed slightly, but what it's done here is it has this sort of lovely shape on the side where the body bulges out, but the glass house tapers in. You can see it on the bonnet here, the way it has this shut line that runs around the edge there, and one clean design, no crap around the wheel arches, just nice and simple. This vehicle here is called M50. It is the top of the range for the moment of the two variant launch lineup for Australia. It'll be a base X3 20 xDrive, no more I, just a 20 with a 2-litre turbo petrol. This car has the B58 3-litre single turbo twin scroll 6-cylinder 293 kilowatts. So what we've got here is the full M performance package. Now, looking at the design, we have this double signature DRL in the headlights here, which is all new. We've got the headlights on here so we can see the iconic glow grille, which sounds like women's makeup, and it is makeup for a car, really. It's giving it this nice kind of subtle tinge to the double kidney grille. Apparently this is the first time that that has not been joined in the center here. So they're not ridiculously oversized like they are in other models. In the X3 here, it's about being classically handsome, and I think this sizing here is perfect for a medium SUV in 2024. Being the M50 again, we've got this gloss black patterning down here, much like the X5, X6, X1, and the 1 Series M Performance models. The gloss black is the color du jour for sporting BMWs. It continues on these little fillets on the side here, and it goes into the roof that's now all glass and has, again, that gloss black finish. Walking around the side here, these 21-inch wheels here are standard on the M50. In this case, they have an optional matte black finish, but they are the same design as what you would get on any other M50. They are 255/40 21s at the front, 285/35 at the back, so 10 millimeters wider than before. We also have wider tracks here. The car itself is 30 millimeters wider, 36 millimeters longer, so it's about having a broader stance on the road. The suspension in the new generation X3, new kinematics, completely new steering system, redesigned anti-roll bar mounts, tweaking of what is essentially the CLAR platform. Underneath this vehicle is the same 28/65mm wheelbase. It is a complete rebody and makeover of the existing third generation X3, which will not carry through to the iX3. It'll go to the Neue Klasse and have a different platform altogether and be a substantially different car. So this marks the beginning of the separation of combustion engine and electrification in their medium SUV category and continuing on to others. Now, going along the side here, this new generation X3 is really clean. It's a very handsome vehicle. I love the flush door handles, the way they've gone from those really ugly oval things with the pull handle stuff to this sort of flushness. It really does suit the vehicle. Looking at the back here, same again, more gloss black around the glass house, those big fat wheels at the back. These calipers here, which are blue, are optional, but they're no cost, which is a surprise. And at the back here, we continue more of the detail of the front. These sort of patterning in the tail lights here on the side sort of matches what they've been doing with the speaker grills in the interior. It is actually also reflected in the front lights as well. And on the 20i, which will be the entry-level car, this will be more of its sort of grille design, not the horizontal slats that we've got here on the M50. While the new X3 rides on the same CLAR platform and the same wheelbase length, it has had adjustments to its packaging to make it feel significantly different inside. The first thing that I noticed is that the windscreen cowl is quite close to the driver. The depth of the dash is really only there. I can touch almost the bottom of the windscreen. And so this shape here makes the vehicle feel quite a lot smaller than it actually is. The dash design has this full curved screen, 14.9 inch for the touchscreen, 12.3 for the driver's instruments, inspired by the iX that debuted in 2021, and it has now filtered down through the range. Here we have an optional knitted upholstery which has this knitted finish across the dash in sort of an asymmetry. It starts up the top there near what could be the speaker but isn't, and comes all the way and cuts down around this head-up display. BMW says the head-up display in the M50 is the largest of any BMW so far, so very fancy, a lot of nice electronics, but also minimalisation in here. Firstly, I'll start with the colouring of the trim. This knitted grey upholstery, which is instead of having stitched vinyl, which would contrast really nicely with the rest of the colouring. Outside we have dune, which is like a metallic sand, one of 4 new colours, and inside here we have espresso brown on this Vernasca upholstery, which is not leather, but it very much feels like leather. It's quite supple, it's perforated, and it has ventilation in the front of the M50. So you just hit the seat button there, you've got 3-stage ventilation, 3-stage heating, much quicker than before. The combination here too of OS 9, which is the latest operating system, with the iDrive controller is a first for BMW, this pairing. It's only been 8.5 for that before. This is similar to the crystallised one in the 7 Series. It doesn't do away with the iDrive controller like the UK L2 front-wheel drive based cars. It keeps that, but it does get the new rocker gear selector. So it's got this little rocker switch for the gear selector instead of having a lever. Nothing to rest your arm on, but we've still got a big wide stitched center console here to hold on to. Physical volume knob here, weirdly in the other way around than it was in the 1 Series we've also looked at, because this is actually set up for right-hand drive. In front of it here, BMW calls this the jewelry box. I don't know why, but it is the jewelry box. It has this ambient lit crystallized edge around it that's clear, that lights up at night time. It matches the clear through here that also lights up at night, and in this center here we've got 2 cup holders. It looks like it's got dual wireless charging, but it doesn't. It's just one on the left and then 2 USB-C ports, and then another anti-slip panel for whatever smartphone, whatever size, pretty big actually, you can fit in there. Now the minimalisation of the buttons is very much prominent in here. Like the facelifted 1 Series, we get all the lights on the left stalk, so indicators, everything all here. There's nothing on the right-hand dash here at all. It's completely clear. The ventilation is again all touch like in the 7 Series, so we've got for the left passenger, the right-hand passenger, we've got rear demister, front screen demist, but we also have separate ventilation for the outside vents, which is here on the door, which I don't think I've ever seen that before, but it's actually a really cool idea. Got the seat memory controls here, X3 written here, and that's all for this vent. That's just on the side here, and you can see it again over on the dash here. Just this little thing, again, with the manual controllers underneath to do the direction. It's pretty good quality. I wouldn't say it's full premium quality, but it's getting close. Like the plastics are better than they are in the lower spec cars, definitely better than in the 1 Series, but some of the things, like I think like the door grab that you have here is all plastic. It's piano black on one side, plastic on the other, with a tiny little rib of sort of rubber but not really. The padded leather bit is back where you put your arm, so where you grab here and the plastic door handle you grab here is, I don't know, perhaps not quite as high quality as I was expecting. You can easily fit a 1 litre cami bottle in the front and the back doors. We also have a new gen steering wheel. It's the same as in the new 1 Series. It's nice and thick. The M car here has the red line at 12 o'clock. We have the paddles with the red rubberized at the back, boost on the left where you can hold that down and it will switch to sport mode and switch to the lowest gear possible in the 8-speed automatic if you need turbo boost very quickly. First time for a flat bottom wheel in an X3. Got the tricolour stitching around the edges. I think the general look of it is actually really classy, but it's more about the packaging and the feel than it is about some of the smaller finishes, and I suppose the technology as well. That's what really sets the new Gen X3 apart. Sitting behind myself in the back seat of the new X3, there's plenty of room. I have a really good seat here, nice under thigh support, good angle, no adjustable backrest rake, but it is in a really good position with pretty good side support as well. This seat is as low as it will go, yet I've still got toe room and foot room in front of me. My knees aren't touching the front seat, and this is my position. We also have these little slots here where you can add in a tablet in front of you. I didn't mention before, but the front headrests also slide forward in multiple positions, which is all pretty cool. The middle seat is quite suitable as well. It does have a really high transmission tunnel, but this isn't too hard. It's all quite nice. We have tri-zone climate control in front here with outboard seat heating, 2 USB-C ports, the same kind of ventilation adjustment as the front, so up and down, left and right with these little rubberized bits and pieces. The plastics quality isn't amazing, but it's not so bad. I think the technology kind of takes a bit of attention away from that. I do love the way the knitted stitching of the dash blends into the top of the doors, and it's still all the way in the back here. Look, all the way down here, all the way along the top of the door sill here. It just adds a little bit of sparkle to the interior. Like I said, easily fit a 1 litre camping bottle in the door. You could probably get a 1.5 litre bottle in there. But again, the same kind of hard, not so amazing plastics in the door grips, although you do have these ones up in the top here that are damped. The roof of this glass model is fixed, but you can have an electric cover, which is standard, which comes from out here and closes it, so you don't have to sit in the light all the time. We've got a folding armrest here with another pair of cup holders. So in terms of practicality, while it has quite thick B-pillars here, because this is about having a safer car that has better suspension control, yet the vision is actually still pretty good around the edges of the seat, out through the windscreen there. Like I said again, love the way the windscreen's shaped. Just adds an airiness to the interior, and obviously with the roof that's standard in this car, it's pretty good. In a similar fashion to the design minimisation of the front and the inspiration from the XM in making it look a more handsome, cleaner vehicle, the back end of the new X3 is exactly the same. It's taking inspiration from the hatchbacks in BMW's range rather than going from something family and frumpy. So even just something like moving the number plate from the middle of the tailgate down into the bumper bar makes a huge difference to the look of the back of this vehicle. It still has those sort of X-shaped tail lights like the old generation X3, but here much better detail, cooler edges, much sharper, those little patterns on the side like I mentioned before. We don't have the boot opener here like we do in a hatchback. We also have the gloss black spoiler that wraps around the rear window here, very much like a hatch, so making the new X3 look like a hot hatch on steroids and on stilts in this, certainly in this M50 version here. Again, like the new 1 Series M35, we have gloss black down the bottom and we have 4 pipes. So among the first M Performance models to actually get the 4 pipes from the proper M cars. So combined with the wider track, the longer length, the reshaped body, the more tapered glass house, this X3 has a stance. But it isn't just about looks, because inside here, the X3 has always had one of the biggest boots in its class. It's now up to 570 litres instead of 550, so up 20 litres. And when you drop the rear seat, which hopefully we can do very elegantly here, 1,700 litres, which is 100 litres more than the previous generation model. When the G45 X3 goes on sale in Australia in January 2025, it'll be available in 2 mild hybrid petrol variants. This M50 here with 293 kilowatts and 580 newton meters, because apparently the mild hybrid adds another 40 newton meters to what the engine has, and a 20 xDrive, which is a 2 litre turbo petrol, 140 kilowatts, 310 newton meters. Now, both of those cars will be made in Spartanburg in the USA, but production for the 20 will likely switch to South Africa further down the track. When the new Gen X3 launches in January, BMW Australia will reveal what other variants we will be getting. We won't be getting an entry-level diesel, but we will likely be getting the plug-in hybrid, which we already have in the existing car, and potentially a more performance-oriented diesel. But diesels account for such a small percentage of the X3. People buy the 20 and they buy the all-wheel drive, hence why this is an all-wheel drive car. What do I think of the styling? I think that the minimalisation of the look of it, the changing and the tweaking of the shape, the making of it look deliberately less SUV-ish and a bit more car-like adds an elegance to the X3 that it's never really had before. I think the exterior is more of a success than the interior, certainly in terms of the classiness, but this is still easily the most elegant, classiest X3 ever. If you go back through the generations, the last one was just like any other BMW, just in a medium SUV size. The one before, the interior was best off ignoring, and the one before that was just, let's forget about it. I'm sure there's none left, and thank God for that. This is the X3 to have. If you haven't subscribed, please do so below the video, hit the notification bell and tell us what you think about the new generation G45 X3 or about chasing cars. Thanks for watching.